Hello guys, Blagaga here, and I'm continuing the top 10 list videos this week about the Arc V era with another video. And this is a top 12 list about the best booster set of the Arc V era. Right now on screen you see the 12 booster sets of the last 3 years. Some of them are bad, some of them are decent, and some are pretty good. But how do you determine if a booster set is actually good? Well, it's actually pretty easy in my opinion. A good booster set should have as many of the following points as possible. Expensive, powerful chase cards that already make your money back if you open them in a booster pack. Powerful archetypes that shape the metagame and have a huge impact. Powerful single cards, again, that have an impact in the metagame. Be it, for example, very strong main deck monsters that you can play in a lot of different decks. Powerful extra deck monsters. And also good side deck cards, for example some floodgates. Also a good booster set should have useful cards in all kind of different rarities. And the last point, the set should contain its value over the years, or at least for a long period of time. Last point before we get to the actual list is that I want to mention that you have to determine the sets when they came out and also from today, because otherwise we would basically see the newest sets at the top places because they contain the most powerful archetypes, and that would be a little bit unfair, especially when we are talking about reprints of old sets. So some old sets don't have a lot of value at the current point in time simply because we got so many reprints. Okay, so now that we talked about the criteria, let's start the top 12 list. On the last place is obviously the worst booster set of the Arc V era, which is in my opinion Invasion Vengeance. Especially if you consider that this set isn't even that old, it should really bother you that there are maybe like 10 cards in the set that really matter. The most obvious cards are the monster which name should not be spoken because it's just a bad pun, and also the trap card that should have been limited till the Reigns era starts. And the others are the 2 Yang Xing support cards as well as some Metal Force support and the Paleozoics. And that's already it, and Paleozoics and Metal Force aren't even in the meta anymore. And the new archetypes in the set, Crystons and Gem Critters, fade completely, so well, from here it can only get better. For example with Shining Victories. Another set that has exactly 2 big chase cards, which are Crystal Wings, Synchro Dragon, and Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries, although Cherries isn't that important and expensive anymore. In terms of archetypes, neither Blue Eyes, Lunar Lights, Digital Bugs, or especially not Armor Farce are really powerful, but Blue Eyes did at least win Worlds, and it's a good bet to place your money on simply because Blue Eyes is one of the most iconic decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! And just contains a lot of value. And that's also the reason why Shining Victories is above Invasion Vengeance and is overall at least a decent set if you want to buy Blue Eyes. At place number 10 we have Secrets of Eternity. So this set introduced Infernoids, but when they came out Infernoids were kinda underwhelming. Even though you might not believe that, simply because the other dual terminal archetypes weren't that strong back in the day. So as we all know, this changed with the additional support they got and a little bit of help from the ban list. In the set we also have some decent extra deck monsters like Metaphysauros or Sky Cavalry Centauria, but then again that's kinda already it. When it comes to overall decent cards that hold their value and were playable for a longer period of time, there's just nothing in the set, which is kinda underwhelming. Moving on to number 9 we have Crossed Souls. Crossed Souls is again not a good booster set. The main meta design archetype in the set was Sephra, and back in the day nobody knew how to play Sephra because it was just a weird deck and it didn't have an impact in the metagame. The main thing that Crossed Souls makes somehow decent are some very good single cards like Ghost Ogre, Clearing Synchro Dragon, Galaxy Cyclone, or Tellarknight Ptolemaeus. For example also the Melody of Awakening Dragon, Unexpected Die, or Lose One Turn. So those are at least some decent cards that are still playable and that had a lot of value when the set came out. but then again, that's already it, so not a lot going on for the set. Moving on to number 8, we have a very similar set with the Next Challenger. The Next Challenger was the second set, and it's kind of like Secrets of Eternity, a set that supported all the archetypes that already existed from the dual terminal, and like for example Tellarknights or Yang Xing. It also gave us Flethels and of course our favorite pay 800 archetype Qliphort. And oh boy, Qliphort was a monster of a deck back in the day, especially because it had multiple scouts and towers was not banned, so sounds pretty good. But what the set completely lacked were single good generic cards. Like, there are nearly none, maybe Oasis of Dragon Souls, but you heard the sentence often enough in this video already, that's already it. So, besides one decent archetype, the set gave us basically nothing, which is, in my opinion, not enough. And now we come to a fairly new booster set that you all know at place number 7, and that is Raging Tempest. Zodiacs, 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 Zodiacs. Okay, let's be honest, take Zodiacs and that grass looks greener out of the set and you're left with not a good set at all. But just the pure fact that Zodiacs are in the set and they're just ridiculous and still ridiculous. But if you take also into consideration that the set could be the first set of the Arc V era, and then again, we probably would have a lot more powerful archetypes, the set wouldn't be that great. But from today's perspective, at least it has Zodiacs, and again, as long as Zodiacs are still good and had a good value when the set was released, well, it just deserves the spot. And now let's move on to number 6, and here we have Maximum Crisis. And Maximum Crisis, kinda like Raging Tempest, has one big archetype, which are True Dracos, and a few good secret rares like the Ionic Diagram and Ghost Age, and that's already it. Not really, the set has the True Kings of all Calamities, Waterfall of Dragon Souls and Sylvan Princess Bride some really good super rares at least. And also some good commons like Boa Baboon. There are some decent cards, but then again you also have to consider that this is the newest booster set and it should actually be the best of all of them if you want to buy them. But in comparison to some other older sets, it's just nothing like those sets when they came out. It's kind of disappointing. So it just has to be on the spot on a higher list. Everything else just wouldn't be fair, especially if you consider how powerful and good some of the old booster sets are that are at the top places on this list. So in my opinion, now we come to the actually decent booster sets of the Arc V era. And on place number 5 we have Dimensions of Chaos. Dimensions of Chaos had Cosmo Dark Destroyer, a $130 card on release. Dimensions of Chaos also gave us Martial Spectres, and with Cosmo and Martial Spectres it basically took targeting completely out of the game for a while. And don't forget cards like Plushfire, Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon, Odd Eyes Vision, Painful Decision and Gamma-Sea the Sea Turtle Kaiju. Or the Kaijus in general. We also got some DDD cards and also Cradles, which aren't the worst archetype that we ever got next to the meta archetype in the set. All in all, a really decent set, no complaints from my side. Moving on to number 4 we have Clash of Rebellions. Clash of Rebellions gave us Arrow Mages, Ignites and Red Eyes. So how can the set be better than some other sets that are already on the list? Well, this set has by far the most ridiculous amounts of broken low rarity cards in history of Yu-Gi-Oh! You don't believe me? Okay, just listen, check this out. Pathomage Damage Juggler, common, banned. Pathomage Trick Clown, common. Not banned, but damn it, this card was ridiculous when it came out. Wavering Eyes, common, banned. Chicken Game, common, banned. And how about some other really powerful cards like Luster Pendulum, Brilliant Fusion, Eccentric Arcfiend, Ignister, Red Eyes Flare, Metal Dragon, Storming Mirror Force, and oh yeah, we also got Cosmo. Still remember when Cosmo Farm Girl was a $70 card, and yeah, the set also gave us the first Kaiju. So all in all, this is a very powerful set that had a huge impact in the meta game. So you could just buy a simple pack and got one very good card especially if you consider the powerful commons in the set. And that's, in my opinion, really worth the place number 4 on this list. And now we enter the top 3. And at place number 3 we have the Dark Illusion. I have to admit, this is definitely debatable, but looking at it when it came out, when it was first released, it was a very good set. Mainly because we have Dark Magician, which again, like Blue Eyes, holds a lot of value. The fact that we had a very cheap metagame archetype with the Metal Foes, and we also had some very good chase cards like Pot of Desires, Cobra Dragon or Cosmic Cyclone, but especially Pot of Desires. And when it comes to good commons, we had the Paleosaurix, Fairy Tale Snow and Go Through the Hazy Shadow. So what really hinders the deck from today's perspective is, in my opinion, the fact that Zapdos and Spirals upon their first release looked very promising, and the set was a lot better back in the day because we couldn't tell how good Zapdos and Spirals are. You just have to consider that there are 2 possible metagame archetypes in this set additional to Metal Foes that you could just open, and that's, in my opinion, if you look at it from the perspective when the set came out, very good. So at place number 2 we have Breakers of Shadows, and some people call this set Breakers of Wallets. This was the first booster set with the new rarity system, a super rare in every pack and also more ultra rares and secret rares in every display. And we had so many good secret rares like Solemn Strike, Cyber Dragon Infinity, Rolophagia, Pendulum Sorcerer. Those cards were very expensive, and we even had like broken commons like Monkey Board, and don't forget a very cheap and good archetype like Dynamis, Interrupted Kaiju Slumber, also Cosmo Support, Quaking Mirror Force, Twin Twister, which was a $7 super rare, which we will never get one of those again, or cards like Draco Face Off, and all the important support cards for Pepe, which 2 weeks later got hit on the ban list, but when the set came out nobody could know that. The set also contained Buster Blader and Shiranui, which were kinda good, and what makes the set, in my opinion, slightly better than, for example, Clash of Rebellions and the Dark Illusion, is simply the new rarity system, which hyped a lot of people to buy booster boxes, including me, for example. It still wasn't worth buying them if you consider it's never worth to buy booster packs, but the set had a lot of good arguments to just get it. And now we come to number 1, and it has to be pretty obvious because there's only one set left, which is Duelist Alliance. And Duelist Alliance is the first set of the Arc V era, so being on the top right here is, in my opinion, very impressive. And Duelist Alliance is not the best Arc V era booster set because it has the best commons or the most expensive cards, or there were some really expensive cards on the set, don't get me wrong, but the simple fact that up on release immediately gave us 4 playable, ridiculously powerful archetypes that completely crippled the metagame. Talonite, Yang Zing, Shaddoll and Burning Wisp. Yang Zing are debatable, but still the other ones are clearly ridiculous. And not only that, they even supported all those archetypes for a very long time. So again, buying this set or multiple booster packs just to get every single archetype card from the set, it's just crazy good. I don't know about you, but this is something that I really want to see more often. And Duelist Alliance completely shaped the meta, introduced even a new game mechanic. The impact that Duelist Alliance had in the metagame is just undeniable. And yeah, that's the end of the top 12 list, the best booster sets of the Arc V era. What is your opinion, the best and the worst booster set that I listed? Do you agree with my list or disagree? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Please support smaller channels, help the channel grow. And as always, till next time, bye.